Listen, brothers and sisters, if you're here for this show, you have to put your thinking cap on today. I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm not trying to sound like I'm better than you, but this is a thinking woman and a thinking man show today. We're going to talk about something that's very serious, which is the need for borders and the defense of a nation state. Because this, after you hear this show here, see, me, you know what my goal of doing BAIO radio on Sunday is? My goal is to put out the kind of information, the kind of perspective that once you hear what I say and then you compare it to other people talking about nationhood outside of BAIO, you could tell a phony from the real deal. You can tell a person who really wants nation building and to build a nation from a person who's just trying to throw, bad juice in the pot, so to speak. And so, therefore, brothers and sisters, the BAIO mission, again, is we want to band together brothers and sisters who have skills in critical fields such as science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, skilled administrators, skilled laborers, and skilled thinkers. We want to put these people together, as many black people as we can. We want to put them to the task of first of all, acquiring land. Second of all, producing infrastructure. And third of all, by doing both, claiming nationhood. And as I always say, the BAIO mission statement can be encapsulated in 3 words and 1 question. Land, infrastructure, and nationhood, what is the end game? And so therefore, when we put and bring these people together to do this, this is an exciting thing because black people look at this and they say, wow, a nation of black people for black people, a nation of black people with the interests of black people, where you don't have to worry about police brutality, where you don't have to worry about corrupt politics, where you don't have to worry about corrupt government so much, where you don't have to worry about intentional biological warfare and the destruction of your children and vaccines that have, all the things that you have to worry about as a black person in America, you would not have to worry about in your nation state that has been created by black people from America who understand how to put together a nation, who understand how government runs, understand how infrastructure runs, and all of those other things. You would not have to worry about that. But here's the quandary, though. Here's the conundrum. And that is this here. This all sounds fantastic, doesn't it? This all sounds, in a perfect world, it sounds beautiful. However, you and I both know we're not living in a perfect world. So if you put this together, even the act of trying to put it together, okay, first of all, let me go through this in 2 steps. First of all, to put this together, you do realize that this is going to be taken as a hostile action by the host country. I'm going to say that again. Black people from America attempting to put together and build our own independent nation state. That's going to be taken by every host country on this planet as a hostile action. When I say host country, do you know what I mean? I mean the country that you intend to build that nation on. And so be that as it may, brothers and sisters, if, in fact, these particular nations see it as a hostile action, then you and I must really think about, we have to think about infrastructure, we have to think about the planning, architecture, we have to think about energy, all that other stuff. But have you ever really given a lot of talk and thought to the defense? Have you ever really given a thought to the defense? Now, you will hear a whole lot of people pontificating about nation building on various different channels. And they'll be saying, we can do this, we can sue the government, and we can do this, that, and the next thing, and we can put together this, we can put together that. All we need is a plot of land, and we're going to be able to grow vegetables on that, and, there'll be sustainable green energy, and all of these ideas are very, very nice, brothers and sisters. They're very, very nice. But once you make the declaration and you start moving towards realistic nation-building reality, that will be taken as a hostile action by almost every host country, both black and white, all across all across the planet Earth. And so because of that, you and I have to have a serious discussion about the top threats that you would be facing. So, number one, do it right here, guy. Do it right here, gal, who says that shouldn't go nowhere else, that we can build a nation right here. You can do it right here. You can, acquire land. You can own and maintain infrastructure, either build it by yourself or take over somebody's infrastructure and maintain it, which to me sounds crazy, but indulge it, do you? You know what I mean? And from that, fly your flag, separate from society, and claim nationhood. When you do that in America, you got 5 top threats that you're going to face. Number one, cyber attacks. Now, you would look at that as that should not be a high priority, but it is a high priority because everything that you run today works on information technology. Everything that you use today, from toilets to lights to clocks to, everything that has to do with critical infrastructure, it all works on information technology. And if your information technology is compromised, you can shut the whole nation down. Now, last week on my show, I talked about this movie again called The Fifth Wave. And the first wave was the EMP burst, which took out all information technology all over the planet Earth. It took out everything else that used electricity. But the main thing was information technology, because you saw a whole bunch of people looking at their smartphones. What would you be like if you didn't have a smartphone for a whole week? What would you be like? You have to ask yourself that question. What would your life be like if you didn't have a smartphone for a whole week? If you didn't have a computer or a tablet for a whole week? And so, therefore, your information technology, that's the top, number one threat. Number two, counterintelligence. Counterintelligence. Do you know what I mean by counterintelligence? What I mean is spies. Men and women who look like you but seek to steal plans or steal information. Men and women who look like you who seek to ascertain your position, your location of your key leaders. People who go behind enemy lines and mark targets and and laser designate certain hard points or soft points, That's what you got to worry about. People who steal vital information or destroy records, destroy original plans that nobody else has, and then murders everybody else that has it. Listen, brothers and sisters, this is not TV. This is reality here. And so when you're putting together and building a nation, then you and I have to have serious discussions. Number one, we got to know what's facing us. And that's why you have guys like me, because this is my life. My life is security. And maybe I didn't qualify that in the beginning. So let me start over. Me, Minister Dawood, I am a second-generation security technician, security programmer, security entrepreneur. My dad is in physical as well as electronic security. I will be in physical, electronic security, and eventually network security. But I've been a part of security and the security world for now 20 years. I have spent over $3,000, $4,000, maybe $5,000 on security. Man, I can't even say that. I think that I've literally spent maybe $10,000 on security books. That sounds outrageous, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound outrageous? Sounds like I'm making that up. You know what I'm saying? Sounds like I'm just trying to beat my chest. Trust me when I'm telling you I'm not beating my chest, because it does cost that much money. When you got people that go to 125th and they're paying $1,000 so they could debate with you on somebody's damn couch, then you need to turn around and understand that there's some of us out there that really take what we do seriously, and we're going to pay. Listen, I have a fire certification I had to get. There's literally 5 books at $130 each. Come out my pocket. No business pocket. And so, therefore, I spent 15 years in the physical industry, basically in the locksmith industry, and now 5 more years in the electronic security industry. So I've studied physical security, I studied electronic security, and I studied network security. I also am now studying what's called fire protection, which is another thing that we will get into probably 2 weeks from now, not next week. So either way, be that as it may, number 3 on the top 5 threat list that you would face in America is terrorism. Now, you look at the terrorists, of course, and you say, oh, this is false flags, and you got to deal with errors and this, that, and the next thing. But if you plan to put your own nation in America, if you plan to try to build your nation in America, then you're going to deal with white folks trying to terrorize you. The very first act of terrorism that you faced was being brought over here from the country of Africa, and the second act of terrorism that you faced was being put into slavery Oh, but number three was when you were released from slavery and the KKK started burning crosses and rounding up your people and your children. Listen, brothers and sisters, today is not the day where I got to be, falsely optimistic. I'm being real with you. This is hardcore talk and it's true talk. And if you can't handle this, then you need to do something and go someplace. But the reality of it is that this is what we face as a people, and it is my job as a security practitioner to basically apprise you of this. So anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't even realize I didn't have the chat room open. Fourth on the list, weapons of mass destruction. Now, of course, again, because you are used to watching TV and looking at the news, weapons of mass destruction to you is, I don't know, it's Saddam using Agent Orange, it's it's cyanide, it's arsenic, it's all that other stuff that people use, and you think, okay, well, this is weapons of mass destruction, and this is Arabs basically using it against white people in America. Understand something, boy. If you decide to put a nation in America and build a nation in America, and it's actually competing for resources, money, and prestige from white people in America, you're going to have to deal with all of that and then some. You will deal with fire bombings. Listen, this is not going to be easy for you. This is not going to be easy for you. And I know that you thought that this was going to be a nice little fluffy show where we would just talk about, cameras and access, but I have to let you know what you're facing for you to be real about this, okay? Number 5 top threat is armed militias. Armed militias start with the police, but go all the way into that group, that kind of group that took over that facility out in Oregon. You'll be dealing with that too. And so that's your American basic, that's your American top 5 threats. So now you go over to Africa because you say, okay, well, we don't want to build a nation here. We want to build in Africa. There's many, many threats over in Africa. But the top 3 threats are 3 Islamic groups, by the way, or so-called Islamic groups, because they don't practice the kind of Islam that I practice or any of the people I know who are good people practice. But either way, you got to call a spade, correct? So number 1 is Boko Haram. That's Sergeant Willie Pete's boys, the people that he runs from or sleeps being terrorized by at nighttime, the people that he cannot let come out. He can't keep out of his mouth. Now, you know that they're in Nigeria, and it's basically a quote-unquote Islamist terror group, but they're not Muslims and they're not Islamists, but they're basically, bastards committing genocide on their own people. Al-Shabaab is in Somalia, and Al-Qaeda in Maghreb is the third top organization. So these are the basic threats that you have to face in these countries. You know what I'm saying? And if you're trying to build something in these nations, then those are the top threats that you have to face. So you got to keep that in mind. And with that in mind, it helps you to understand that this is not going to be just a peaceful utopia, but yes, you're going to have to put some work in and put up some defenses. Now, if you want to take the coward's way out and say, well, why should we even do it in the first place? You can do that. But we're not trying to come all of this way to be cowards about this. We have not done all of this talking. We have not done all of this investing. We have not done all of this researching. And we have not done all of this reprogramming of our minds for us just to chicken out and say, well, if you listen to all the stuff that the minister was talking about, then we can't. No. You have to understand who your enemy is before you protect yourself against your enemy. That's basic strategy right there. And so, therefore, brothers and sisters, one of the most critical factors that you have to deal with in building a nation is security of the nation. And if you don't have a discussion about security of the nation, then you are not serious about nation building, whether it's here or anywhere else. And if you think, first and foremost, that security will be solved by the check procedure that you learned in whatever organization, black organization, insert here was that you was a part of, you are out of your mind. You are out of your mind if you think that basically is it. Because security has to take on such a high level that a lot of you're not even ready for that. You know what I'm saying? You're not even ready for that. So now, what spawned this show? What spawned this show originally is there's a lot of people out there talking about they want to build on the continent of Africa. Okay, that's cool. I understand that. I think it's a good idea. But they say that we want to solve all the problems that we have, we're going to have a nation without borders. Boy, are you crazy? A nation without borders? A nation without no way of protecting? Sorry, brothers and sisters, there's a lot of honking outside my house. I didn't understand what was going down. So you're not going to be building any nation without no borders. It's going to last for 5 days. You know what I'm saying? It's going to last for 5 days. When they ran down on Tom Array with Dr. York, you mean there was no borders? There was no borders. So what the hell did you expect? When they ran down on the Black Panthers, what did you expect? I'm not saying that these brothers and sisters was in error or I'm not criticizing them because hindsight is 20/20. But what I'm saying is if we learn anything from the past, then we are going to have to definitely secure our independent nation with borders and then put out very strong, very serious, very nuanced, and comprehensive security. And so therefore, brothers and sisters, the most serious thing that you could talk about is security. So let me give you a definition of security, all right? Let me give you a definition, a realistic definition of security. I have a lot of books out and a lot of notes out, so you got to bear with me. Okay, security implies a stable, relatively predictable environment in which an individual or group may pursue its ends without disruption or harm and without fear of disturbance or injury. The concept of security in an organizational sense has evolved gradually throughout the history of Western civilization, shaped by a wide variety of institutional and cultural patterns. So I want to restate that security implies a stable, relatively predictable environment in which an individual or group may pursue its ends without disruption or harm and without fear of disturbance or injury. That's security. That's security for you. So process that for a second. Because understand something. Like, you're not going to go someplace and just build something, won't be no threats. You're not going to be in here in America and build something, won't be no risk. But at least if you know what you're facing and have a comprehensive idea of how to deal with it, then it makes it easier for you to plan, strategize, and overcome it. Because understand this, brothers and sisters, these terrorist groups that I just mentioned and these threat actors that I just mentioned, they are overcomable. It is just that you have to know what the hell you're doing to overcome these things and these people. You have to know what you're doing to overcome these groups. And so therefore, there's two types of adversaries, brothers and sisters. I'm going to say this and then we're going to go on break. There are threat actors and there are risk actors. You got to know the difference between the two. Security is broken down to deal with two adversaries, threat and risk. Okay? Threat deals more with physical harm to individuals and people. Risk more so deals with threat of individual harm or harm to assets. You have to know what your assets is. You have to know what the nation's assets are. You have to know what family assets are. And if you don't know what the assets are, then you cannot protect them. So you have to know, we have to understand how to defend ourselves against threat as well as risk. See, in America, you have many different ways of dealing with risk. And one of the major ways to deal with risk, well, two major ways, is procedures and insurance. You know what I mean by that? If you put policies in place, and with those who work in a certain place or those who live in a certain place, and you enforce it on them and they buy into the policies, then you have a better chance of dealing with risk and a better chance of dealing with threat. But if you do not put in policies and you do not put in procedures and you don't enforce them, then you're liable to get clipped off and slowly but surely death by 1,000 cuts. However, when you do put in procedures and policies and you make sure that people follow them, you got a better chance to survive just about anything that people will give you out there. You know what I'm saying? The second thing is insurance, which you know you're not going to have in your own nation. And that basically is if you have, let's just say you have $10,000 and you have insurance for $10,000, and somebody comes and they steal $10,000. Well, if you got $10,000 worth of insurance, then that's going to basically absorb the risk. You understand what I'm saying? That's one of the ways to absorb the risk. But if you don't have $10,000 worth of insurance, let's just say you only have $5,000 worth of insurance, then you would have to come up with a security-based risk-averse alternative to absorb, to meet, and possibly defer the risk so that you can basically funnel as much of that which is going to be destroyed to the $5,000 that you have for insurance. Are you understanding what I'm saying here, brothers and sisters? I know that what I'm saying, we're dealing with real technical security here. So I don't want to lose you today, but at the same time, I want to deal with it from the standpoint of somebody that has experience in the field. So again, understanding security is basically ensuring a predictable environment for the people, the business, the infrastructure, and the nation. And if you don't have good security, then basically you are pissing in the wind talking about building a nation, and you might as well go and play cards somewhere. We'll be back. You have borders. Borders is all about security. Your security department will handle the building of borders. It will handle the the maintenance of borders, and also it will handle. See, the thing is that with a border, what you want to do is you want to put some space and some time between you and potential adversaries. And make no mistake, brothers and sisters, Hollip says this all the time, and I agree with him. And even Warlord says this to me also. You really can't trust nobody. You can't. You really can't trust nobody. So, you could say, well, we got loyalty and we got trust. And I know I talk about high trust societies, but really I can't trust you till we're in our own nation. And even when we're in our own nation, I can't trust you. The only thing I can do is look at your day-to-day actions and build a history on you based on what you've done, what you said you were going to do, and then you did, and based on your positives over your negatives. That's the only way. But other than that, I really can't trust you because I never know if you're trying to take me out, and you don't know if I'm trying to take you out. And listen, Brother Minister Dawood is a man that's sincere, you know what I'm saying, and genuine. But, hey, I don't trust you, and you shouldn't trust me. So we need borders. You need borders in your personal life, and you need borders for your nation because you need to put time and distance between you and the threat actor. Listen, these fools, these Arabs is coming through with bombs strapped to themselves. You need time and you need distance to absorb that. And some of these bombs that they're strapping to themselves, they have far reaches, B. So don't talk to me about no trust and no nation without borders. That's insane. It's ridiculous for you to even talk like that. Either way, let's get on with it, because this is a lot more technical show than that. All right, so let's speak about assets first, brothers and sisters, shall we? Because when you deal with risk is about the protection of assets. Now, assets, tangible assets are designed. Tangible assets are defined as people, property, and information. Basically, people, which is the black man and black woman of the nation, from the very smallest to the largest, to the more important to the least important. But of course, you can't be everywhere, and you can't defend everything at every time. So you have to, and I have to, make decisions when there's a full-scale attack, when there's a full-scale raid, or whatever it may be, who we want to protect, how we want to protect them, and how we want to funnel other people who would not necessarily be protected by physical means or the resources that we have, how you can protect yourself is what I'm saying. So you understand something, brothers and sisters. Being a Muslim in the Nation of Islam, I come from a very disciplined, very organized, very practice-centric culture. You know what I mean? So we practice security. We practice evacuation. We practice helping each other. We practice all sorts of things over and over and over again in what's called the FOI and MGT class. And so because of that, we were able to, absorb risk as well as threat, because the people who were most valuable were the minister first and then the laborers. So the minister and the laborers had to be protected, but everybody couldn't protect everything. So that put the onus on the people, your common brother or sister that comes to the temple, that put the onus on you to use your training to protect yourself in the event of an attack, because you were so well trained, you knew what to do. You starting to understand what I'm saying now? When you put together procedures then the people are able to act in such fashion that they can deflect risk and threat from themselves because they're following the procedure. And you must enforce the training and enforce the procedures so that the people minimize risk to themselves and their families, and also they can deal with threats. You understand what I'm saying? So again, assets are people, property, and information. We all know what people is. We all know what property is. But what do we mean by information as a tangible asset? Well, brothers and sisters, quite frankly, let's just say this. In order for any nation to survive, you have to have a product, and you have to have something that's a gross national product that you import in order for, that you export in order for you to receive some kind of imports. It first serves the people, then it serves the governing, the surrounding nations or the people that you do trade with. That gross national product has certain levels of information in order for it to have continuity. And when you have threat actors, people, which we will get into in segment 3, people who come on your property, come into your nation, come, basically compromise your borders, they're looking to harm people. But really, the first thing that they're looking to harm is property and information. They want to destroy the information that you use to keep your product going and to keep your critical infrastructure going. So that's tangible assets. Now, there's intangible assets. And the intangible assets are the reputation of your nation, the relationships of your nation, and the creditworthiness of your nation. Now, the creditworthiness we can start from the bottom with. You saw with the Greece crisis that Greece lost basically a level of creditworthiness and confidence in the people, basically in their home country as well as on the entire planet. But we won't get into that. Your nation builds relationships with other people in order to survive. Your nation cannot survive just being a whole on its own or island of its own. It has to have relationships with other people. If people can sneak into your organization, your nation, and do certain stuff that's completely against your mission statement and the brand that you're trying to project, that weakens relationships with people who would be your allies. Because everybody is looking to see what they can get for themselves. And they're not going to deal with somebody who's a weak partner in, basically in the partnership. So if you have people that sneak behind enemy lines and they begin to compromise basically your product, they compromise your information, they compromise your people, they compromise everything that you do and begin to put out a negative product and a negative view of what's going on, that can harm your relationship. And that right there is an asset that you have compromised because you don't have enough security. You understand what I'm saying? So when your relationship is compromised, then your reputation is compromised. Because if you understand the word reputation, it basically means this is what you are known for, this is what you have delivered in the past. And if your reputation is compromised by terrorists and various different threat actors, then basically the idea of nationhood is that, you see what I'm saying here, brothers and sisters? This thing is not as easy as me, Minister Dawood, mounting some damn rostrum saying we need land, infrastructure, and nationhood. This takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of minds coming together. And this is why I say to y'all, you brothers and sisters out there who you speak against the BAIO and say, we don't know what we're talking about, we don't have any plan. No, you don't have any plan. You don't have any plan. You don't have any step-by-step. But you can tell by what I'm saying, I have put a lot of thought into this. You can tell what I'm saying, that me being down with the BIO, I'm not just the minister, right? No, I'm a person that's going to contribute to the defense of this nation. And I'm not, some dude that worked a security guard job or, I picked a couple of locks in my life. Security is my life. And I will find other black men and women whose security is their life. And I will produce more men and women whose security is their life. So much so that when it's time to create an independent, see, the thing about it is, brothers and sisters, you got all of these people saying that they have a nation, and a lot of them don't have a person like me in their nation. They don't. And so therefore, how the hell you think they surviving? Or how did they survive? And then you see a lot of these people who build, quote-unquote, nations within a nation, and these things dry up within 2 or 3 years. I can think of 2 prominent branches of the Nation of Islam that used to be kicking in the late 90s, and you don't even hear about them no more. What the hell you think happened there? They were compromised and eventually dissolved. You feel comfortable just blaming it on that leader and saying it's the leader's fault. And I keep telling y'all, it's bigger than that. You sound stupid just blaming it on the leader. It's bigger than that. And so, therefore, those are tangible and intangible assets. And when you deal with risk, risk is all about transferring, basically when you deal with risk, it's about transferring the threat to those assets. You understand what I'm saying? So if the mission what is the mission of the nation African? What is the mission of the nation, within the nation that you're going to put here? What is the mission of satellite communities? The mission can be encapsulated in a couple of sentences. Basically, we are creating or we are obtaining a separate territory for the prosperity and the quality of life of the black man and black woman in the African American diaspora, basically. We want to provide a better quality of life for brothers and sisters who were born and raised here in America, and eventually people from abroad, but first and foremost people who were born and raised in America, who have gone through the hell of dealing with the oppressor, but have skills, have nationalism, have a nationalist mental architecture, and desire for black people to finally live high black society. That's the mission statement, or that's the mission of the nation. And so, therefore, here's something that you need to understand, brothers and sisters. And those of you who are business owners, you know that what I'm saying is official. Any nation, really, any organization, any business, any project, if you suffer a big enough financial loss, not only does it kill the project, but it can kill your business, your organization, and your nation. So the old tactical military adages is to never fight soldier to soldier, but fight soldier towards logistics and supply line. Do you understand what I'm saying by that? What basically it meant, okay, let me give you a small bit of what's called Civil War history. The most famous general on the Union side was General William Tecumseh Sherman. And William Tecumseh Sherman became famous because he refused to basically have set-piece battles versus the Confederate general and their soldiers. What Sherman wanted to do was he wanted to march as far close south as he could towards what's historically known as the March toward the Sea. And as he marched, he had a band of men, basically soldiers, who did nothing but burn the enemy's plantations. Burn and destroy the enemy's plantations, destroy the enemy's railways. They were so proficient at it that it was uncanny. They was able to get into towns, burn all their plantations, wreck all of their supply lines to get up out of there before anybody even knew they was there. And Jefferson Davis was furious with this dude because he wanted to challenge him to your romantic set-piece battle where you draw a sword, walk 10 paces, you know what I'm saying, and then they come out and one side shoots at the other. But Sherman was wise enough to understand that war would not be won with gun by gun and man by man. It would be won because we're going to cause you so much financial risk that you will not be able to carry on the war. Because what do you think carried on the war effort for the Confederates? It was their supplies. It was their plantation. And as long as they would continue to get resources from their slave-making plantations, they was able to stay in the war. What made the Confederates give up the war and finally give up was not that not that the Union inflicted enough losses on the Confederates' physical soldiers that they gave up. It's because they inflicted so much loss on their plantations and the economic infrastructure that they had to basically give in. You understand what I'm saying now? So what I'm saying to you is that if you are planning to build a quote-unquote nation within a nation, or you're planning to build a nation abroad, you need to produce or put together enough security that it will absorb financial loss, because if you only have a certain amount of money and you know that putting together these nations, people will be scraping up pennies, nickels, and dimes, if you only have a certain amount of money to build that nation before you get it up, and remember, any nation that you put together, you're going to be waiting really like 10 to 20 to maybe 25 years before you even become profitable. Let's be very honest with that. And knowing and understanding that, know that if you have a compromise of your security, a compromise of your borders, and the people who do compromise it inflict enough financial loss on you, this nation building thing is over in a heartbeat, B. It's over in a heartbeat. So why did I mention in the beginning Boko Haram? Boko Haram is known for burning entire towns, B. They're known for burning schools, towns, villages, plantations. They're known for burning it all. These guys are certified, like I can't curse on this radio show, but these guys are certified jerks. Like they do not give a damn about your village and your nation. And there's many, many people out there, little dudes out there like that. But that's the basic place that you're gonna have to deal with. So you talk about, oh, let's go back to Africa. We're gonna listen. You better have a comprehensive plan on how to deal with Boko Haram. You do. I'm not saying that they're the boogeyman. I'm not saying that they're Thanos and Galactus. But what I am saying is these people, if you look at it from a non-emotional, non-fear-based view, if you look at it from dollars and cents, Boko Haram's idea is to take down your nation by causing as much financial risk to you as possible that it's not profitable enough for you to even operate anymore. And the next thing you know, people will be coming back on planes to America. I'm not trying to hear that. I'm not trying to hear that. And so therefore, you and I have to enact policies that basically not only enforce the borders but protect the borders. Let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. This debate that white folks keep having with their political leaders about how much Mexicans should be let into the country or not, and how much other listen, we're not having that debate in our nation. We're not having that debate at all. You will be vetted. You will definitely be researched. You know what I'm saying? You will fit a certain qualification for a certain amount of years. And that's how it's going to go down. Because quite frankly, brothers and sisters, we can't afford to have people dumping into this nation and compromising the borders. We just can't. And so therefore, brothers and sisters, the reality of the situation is that, you have to ask yourself, because if you know that financial losses, can kill any project, then you and I have to make sure that we make policy, because policy is the number one thing to reduce risk. You know what I'm saying? So, I think we covered that. We covered who's the most valuable woman. The questions need to be asked. And one of the questions that need to be asked is, who are the most valuable people? Is it children? Is it women? Is it thought leaders? You know what I'm saying? These are questions that need to be asked, brothers and sisters. These are honest, comprehensive questions that need to be asked. And I know this is uncomfortable because we're living in an era where everybody on the internet has their idea of what part of black family is the most valuable. But if you're going to come up with a security policy and deal with security, then you have to just figure out ahead of time who is most valuable, who gets resources during a natural disaster, who gets resources during a time of threat, who gets resources during a time of risk. These questions need to be asked. Okay? So now, of course, I've dealt with a lot of the negative and a lot of the things that you face. Let me speak on surveillance for a second. I see that I have a caller. To be very honest with you, you're going to have to wait a couple of minutes because I have one more segment to get over, and then we can have that discussion. But I do want to stay true to my promise to do some emerging technology, but I think that this show I won't deal with technology much because this is more so the conceptual foundation. If you listen to this show and you get it over in your head what you really need to be thinking about in regarding security, then we can start talking about technologies and how far technology and science has come in the way of security. But right now we're not there because we need to talk about the conceptual part of it and the knowledge of it. So either way, let's deal with surveillance for a second. The one thing that you need to understand, brothers and sisters, is surveillance is a reactive mechanism. Surveillance is not a proactive mechanism. It's not a proactive securing mechanism or defense. In other words, surveillance basically just record what you're already doing. We have a joke in the electronic security industry, and the joke is, let's look at your DVR and find out what time you got robbed. That's what basically the joke is. So what does that tell you? That tells you that you being on camera, that basically doesn't do nothing for you. It doesn't matter if you put 50,000 cameras in your nation. It doesn't do nothing to you. You know why? Because you can't hire somebody, first of all, to be looking at your cameras 24/7. Now, what is happening in the camera industry, which is exciting a lot of people, is that they are making small incremental advances with what's called video analytics. And what video analytics are, it's basically software in cameras and in camera systems on their chips, on their EEPROMs, which is electrically programmable memory, or double EEPROM, which is electrically erasable programmable memory. But generally, this is electrically programmed, is burnt into the chip, or sometimes you can control some of these cameras by software. But either way, that's another discussion. Video analytics allows you to see certain things and cause alarms when you see them. So, in other words, you can, but the thing is, has not advanced to the point where you can really rely on it yet. The only video analytic that they've made major strides with is license plate recognition, LPR. And what that basically does is when a car goes by, this camera has one function and one function only. It's designed to catch your license plate and give a good picture of it when you go by. And when you have a camera designed to do that, it's going to do that. But here's what I need to explain to you also in addition to that. If you have a camera that's a specialty camera, don't expect it to do other things. Now, I was having an argument with an idiot online like maybe 2 years ago because apparently, you know what I'm saying, they have these microphones now. And these microphones can basically triangulate where a shot has come from and exactly what area it's come from. That's another thing that we're definitely going to have. So it's basically a excuse me, it's basically a microphone. They put it up in as high as they possibly can. Boom, you say you bust off a shot. That microphone amazingly can triangulate the exact area in which that shot comes from. The police looks at the software and the onboard screen monitor, and they can determine exactly where they need to go to try to catch your black behind before you get up out of it. But the thing is, the argument I was having with this fool is he was saying, we use those microphones also to record conversations, and we use them in the courtroom. I said, listen, B, nobody is looking for no damn microphone to record voices when the main function of it is to triangulate gunshots. That's stupid because it's a specialty device. So if you really wanted to record people's voices, you would have a second microphone there, and that microphone would be universal. Its design would be to catch people's voices, but we're not going to be spying on people in our own nation, are we? That's a slippery slope. But either way, what I'm saying is we're definitely going to have the microphones for triangulation of shots, B, because I want to know who's shooting it and why they're shooting. I don't know about you. And so therefore, surveillance is a reactive device. And just having a camera should not make you feel comfortable because the only thing it's going to do is record. You need to be able to detect the threat before it comes and have enough, a procedure in place to deal with that threat when it does come. That's what you need. And if you don't have that, think about it this way, brothers and sisters. In your own nation, your own police force will actually respond to black people when they call. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine life like that? Having a police force that responds to black people in a timely fashion and shows up with the person that calls best interest in mind. You see why we do need that? You see why people like Sarge are stupid? So anyway, brothers and sisters, be that as may, I'm getting off topic. So surveillance. Surveillance has come a long way with video analytics because now they're using these in airports to basically these video analytics have come in small increments, but, basically what they're trying to do is be able to see crowds and see certain facial expressions, and these facial expressions would tell you whether the person's getting ready to get hostile. But again, you could see that that's not it's not an exact science. The second thing when it comes to surveillance is now gone digital. And what that means is that surveillance used to be analog to the point where a huge, complicated signal, because this is the best way I could describe this to you without getting technical with it, would be sent back to a DVR that would be broken down. An image would be extracted from that huge signal, and that image would then give you a picture of what it is you were looking at. This is the reason why when you look at the Ferguson video of Mike Brown, you can't tell if that was Mike Brown or not. In that store, supposed to be robbing that store, like, I couldn't tell that was Mike Brown. And if I couldn't tell that was Mike Brown, you couldn't either. And I know damn well it wasn't no IP camera. That was an analog camera because the image was crappy. You know what I'm saying? And for years, security managers would have to depend on their knowledge of your mannerisms and the kind of clothing that you wear to basically make an arrest or a prosecution because the camera image was not good enough. But now they have digital cameras. And these digital cameras, what we call IP cameras, transmit the signals in ones and zeros. So there's not much video that's lost. It's redundant, so you won't lose video. and it gives you a really good megapixel picture of what you're looking at. So at least you can scan the area and see what kind of threat was there when it happens. But here's the thing, brothers and sisters. If there's a camera in the area and a person got on a mask and they have on a scarf and shades, your camera's not seeing through that. This is not Superman or Superboy. And so therefore, cameras, I don't want anybody who thinks of my industry being electronic security industry, you don't look at cameras are a false sense of security. They are. Even in the retail environment, with hundreds of thousands of cameras, you know places like Walmart and Target still lose billions of dollars a year from what they call shrink, retail theft. Billions of dollars a year are lost, where the average Walmart place has hundreds of cameras in it, babe. Hundreds of cameras. And so therefore, in your own nation, do not think that surveillance is going to be the answer. You need physical infrastructure, physical borders, strong distance between you and an enemy. You need nuanced and disciplined policies to be able to detect the threat, to be able to ascertain if somebody's a threat, and once you let people within your borders be able to track these people while they're in your nation and make sure they're not there for anything that's crazy, and be able to deal with the people if they are determined to be crazy. And we need our own counterintelligence forces. You know what I'm saying? Brothers and sisters, listen, I got to take a break. We'll be back.
Anyway, what you're saying about borders is so important. Borders define the people. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have borders,
right,
you don't exist. You know, in
right,
the geopolitical sense of the word, wars have been fought over borders, everything like that. People that neglect to create borders for themselves and have given up on themselves, their future, their past, you basically spit on the graves of your ancestors, and you basically spit it on your future. Because without borders, right, you basically do not have a past, you don't have a future. You're in captivity. You know what I'm saying? And when you
right,
have a border, let me give you an example. The early Liberian settlers, when they founded Liberia, their attitude was, we're just as equal as the United States. Why? Because we have a land, they have a land. You know what I'm saying? And we can just build our land up and whatnot. Of course, we don't have Wall Street. We don't have the wealth America has. But one day we will. You know what I'm saying? So that was the idea. They thought themselves as equal. They said, what's superior about American soil than our soil? You know, and so therefore, okay, now these people, like this girl asked me right now, Liberia, I'm debating this girl right now, she said, well, they segregated themselves from the natives. No, they didn't. If you're going to come to a country and you have a plan, say, this is the way we live, this is the type of people, how we have modern schools, we have this, we have a modern system of government, we have rule of law. We don't basically believe in executing people over stupid stuff. We don't believe in taking somebody, a 13-year-old girl, and giving them to a man as a bride price. We don't do that. Our customs are different than yours. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, in our territory, this is the law. This is what we do. You know what I'm saying? When you're on your side of the thing, your native culture, your native law, you guys govern yourselves the way you feel free to govern. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, there's no conflict. You have to establish borders. And so what happens is people will say, well, why would they let the natives overwhelm them, right? Take them over and take over everything they've built, you know, before they even get a chance to establish themselves. And then another thing was the Liberian control. When America and Liberia started the country, they gained control over the coastline, right? They built ports and forts and all along the coastline, 300-something miles of coastline, right? Once they had control over the coastline, right, they passed a law in 1865 called the Port of Entry Law. That means that basically if you wanted to trade along the coast, you had to trade in a port, and you had to pay customs, and you had to pay taxes and everything like that. Before that, it was anarchy. A ship would sail up the coast, trade with natives, not pay any duties. Pirates would come and everything. So when they gained control over the coast and they had steamboats and schooners entering out of mountains and rivers and seizing and pounding boats, they say, look, this is our border at sea. You coming off territorial waters, we're going to expect you. We're going to board your ship. We're going to pound your ship. Once you have control over the coastline and you establish a border between you and the indigenous population, now you have what they call sovereign nation state, you know, and you have power.
Right.
And why? Because if anybody wants to do business or come with any of their territory, they have to come through the chain of command protocol, which was in Monrovia, the capital. So
right.
I don't. How do we go from that? Because people thinking they're going to set up whatever they're going to set up inside the United States, they can get some land in Georgia and build some communes and all kinds of stuff like that. Have you ever heard anything from the even the hippie movement? They found that wasn't feasible. The white people are like, oh well, that's I guess this hippie life, it wasn't all cracked up with it was a bee. And also it's like this. Everything is this a risk. Let me tell you something with a risk and threat and vulnerability. These are the things we have to worry about when talk about a nation state, right? You got threat. You got
hold on a second, brother. Hold on a second. Borders is a Hyksos Greco-Roman concept.
Oh Lord, who the hell's that?
That's this person in the chat room just said.
Oh Lord. Yeah. Well, I tell you what. First of all, the first nation state with borders was Egypt. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. Right.
Egypt. And then what you call the Greeks learned from the Egyptians and everything. So anybody who thinks that they're not going to have borders and when I was a freaking fool. Let's say if it was, does it work? Yes. Rome once ruled the world. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they had borders. You know what I'm saying? Does it work or not? Does it work? The modern nation state with borders work. These are the type of people that never have any power. They don't even think about having power. Oh, let's not have any borders and whatnot. So everybody can just run across your border, no border, no verification, no anything, no security, no are you supposed to be in here, or what's your duties here, or what's your business in this country, why are you here, how long you staying, who are you, and all stuff like that. That's how a modern nation state runs. If you don't basically have that, you have 2-3 different things when you talk about security. You got threat. A threat is anything that can exploit a vulnerability, intentionally or accidentally, and obtain or damage, destroy an asset. You can see the nation state's an asset. Then you have vulnerability. Vulnerability is a weakness or gap in security programs.
We have the esteemed honor. We got Brother Michael Amani with us.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
How you doing,
I'm sorry
brother?
to cut you off, but I don't get this brother all the time. So, brother, how's everything going, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm listening to the show. And just very much agreeing with what you're saying, because I've been thinking about that exact same thing that you've been saying. Like, of course, this is it'll be a long process, but it's necessary. And the one thing you say again is defense. That is absolutely vital. I was just thinking about again. How do you say okay, you want to establish everything there? Okay, the first thing I thought about was like, how do we get from this continent over to that continent, crossing an ocean? And, it's like, okay, how do you defend yourself against something like that? Because, there are things like, why they'd be like, we don't want no Negroes over there. We're not going to have that. So it's like, how do we, these things that we also have to think about, because, again, the idea of, an independent African nation that, that's not part of, really part of the African continent, but, trained in, United States, but we want to get up out of here because, again, as you mentioned before, we're tired of being, shot for no reason other than the color of our skin, and losing our children, or losing our women just because, they fit the profile, quote unquote. That has to stop. So, again, we do have to have this. But knowing that, that as Bobby White said, talk about the psychopathic racial personality, so these systems, these are psychopaths. They like, we hate you, but we're not going to let you go either. So, but it's like, fine. but I'm like, doesn't matter. We have to do something.
Without a doubt, brother. Can you speak to the network aspect of this? Can you speak to because I remember I was given the 5 top threats, and one of them was cybersecurity. So can you speak to that aspect? Because I know that's the background that you come from. Well,
so I'm trying to actually get into to that field, but just working in working with systems for years now. The one thing that is vital, assets. Again, you define what the assets are, and being able to protect those. Because the one thing again, people talk about Just say, well, this security thing was put in the cloud and so forth. I'm like, okay, great. You want to put it in the cloud. Question, did you create that cloud? No. Okay, that's your first. Second problem, do you control the means of transmission, i.e., do you control your own trunk line for the information to go through? No. Okay. Okay. So I'm like, how do you even do that? So those are things that we're going to have to, come up with, the technical aspect. Like, if we're going to have communications, that stuff it's going to have to be secured. But if we use the tools that we have available now, understand those tools were not created by us, and they were created with backdoors. That's just
without a doubt, brother. And that's why, as you were saying, I was going, because that's the thing is, if you work with the system, that's how you think. You know what I'm saying? If you work with the system, then you know the different components of it because you have to troubleshoot it. So there's a transmission point. There's an ending point such as a server. That. People literally like remember that there was that movie with I think it was Cameron Diaz and some other dude, and they took a picture of them having sex or something crazy like that, and he says, well, where did it go? He goes, in the cloud. Where's the cloud? Nobody knows where the cloud is. There's no such thing as a cloud. It's a server somewhere.
Exactly.
Basically.
Right.
But they think that it goes up into the sky somewhere.
It's a secured server, quote unquote. But yeah, it's secured from people who don't know anything, but not from the admin who sees everything.
Right. Exactly. So go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, like I posted today, there was a movie that I just watched today that I found very interesting called Traveling Salesman. You might want to check that movie out because it kind of speaks to all things that you're actually talking about. It's not a super action thriller or anything like that. It's more mental. But if you listen to what they're talking about, perfect sense. We're talking about what controls the world? Algorithms. Making the perfect algorithm. That's the main thing. Cause I'm not a programmer. I'm teaching myself a little bit, but I'm not there yet. But those people who create algorithms, those are the most valued people. Those are the true cyber warriors. That's why I posted that red team, blue team stuff.
Right.
When it comes to network security, I say if you're getting the security field, you have to know both aspects. You have to know how to attack, so that way you know how to defend. Because if you just like, I know how to defend against this, okay, how does the attacker think? I don't know. How are you going to defend it? If you don't know where they're from, what they're going to do. So you learn both. That's what I said, that red team are the attackers, blue teams are the defenders. So when we start doing the network stuff, we want to definitely get people trained in network security, because understand, that's going to be one of the most vulnerable points, because the way things work now, everything's going through computers. This is not 1,000 years ago where you're going to have legions of men stationed here and one up on a mountain with and blowing a horn saying here come the Huns. That doesn't exist anymore. This is going to be ones and zeros that's coming at you.
Right, brother.
That's the bullets. Those are the arrows. It's those zeros and the ones. And if you don't know and how these zeros and ones come together, that's the note. Basically, that is the weapon. It's like it could be a specially crafted TCP packet that gets in there. You get in there, it's a wrap if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, without a doubt. Oh boy, this person in this chat room is. Oh man, are you still there, Carla? Oh, Carla's gone. Okay. This person in the chat room is going off. Let me see if Rob wants to say something.
Sure.
Peace, brother Rob.
Peace, brother. Peace. I got on a little late, man, because usually you'd be on a little bit earlier, but I was busy. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, today I pulled a switcheroo on you and took the late night.
Man, you sure did, man. Yeah, we could have got a lot more people in on this conversation. So, but I'm coming in on the last part, man. And y'all always saying put out good information, man. So, peace to the family, Black African Power.
Yes, sir. Well, we're going to do a part 2 next week because I'm only dealing with the basic foundations of security. Next week I'm going to deal with a lot more technology dealing with it. But can you please, you're a person from the military and you traveled. can you please, I guess, speak to some of the threats that we would have to face and some of the ways that we would deal with some of these threats in the building of our own nation?
You know what? For me, for what I saw, man, the biggest thing is don't speak with a forked tongue. Don't come in. Saying you want to go ahead and create diplomatic ties, and later on you come in and stab in the back and steal their resources. Don't do that, because I see, and then you're gonna go ahead and send the military in and pretend that they are advisors. But what you're doing is you're going ahead and creating other stuff. Then you also, the U.S. government also sent in people who are spies.
Mm-hmm.
So biggest thing is just be truthful and stay with that. That's it.
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I listen. I really appreciate your brother's perspective, and add on to it. Kala, did you want to say something else? Oh, Kala must have left. Anyway, look, I think that I'm done with what I'm going to do for this week. So I'm going to basically bring this to a close. I'll continue next week because I did not intend to be up this late. So.
Yeah. I'm gonna hear me.
Definitely.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
A little bit better, bro. You sound like you're behind a window or something, though. What happened?
You sound like you're behind a window. Well, Colin, you locked up, man?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
What happened, man?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
They got him.
Man, don't tell me they got you, brother. All right, so how much your bill, Colin? What's going on?
There's something we need to that's route like right now.
You know what it is? You know what it is? I'm looking at the. I know what it is. Oh, you know what it is? I was listening to my thing on the computer, but I had my phone, and it's like a delay.
Yes.
Oh, I got you.
So it's like a delay. I was like, wait.
Man. Cause I was up, man. I was gonna try to see what your bill is, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what was crazy? Last time I got arrested, don't think bad of me, but last time I got arrested, my bill was like $50,000, man. Cause I got.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah,
Rob.
I didn't want to know.
I had a few problems, man. So but they
man, you still our brother, so don't you worry about that.
But I ain't served no time though, so I got out of all that, man. So
that's good. That's good.
That's a blessing.
Yeah. What I was gonna say was, like I said, the problem is this. Black people, we're in the worst situation of any group of people in history. And I mean, in history, there has never been a group of people that's so vulnerable. And what makes it so dangerous is that we basically put so much stock in black celebrities, black elected, all these people. You gotta say something. Let's go back to the Negro please aspect of all this. You know what I'm saying? When people are out there, right, elected officials, he's trying to eat. Yep. First and foremost, anything. He's trying to eat. He's trying to get his job. He's taking care of his kids. Forget all that. Well, he's trying to do this. Every last single elected official, whatever like that, it's all a big scam. Everyone's trying to get elected. Whether it's we need to get this our own news media. You're trying to get paid. You're trying to further your advance yourself. It's not going to benefit the collective. Only nationalism is going to benefit the collective of black people. You know what I'm saying? And since they're not talking about that, what it tells me is that everybody's short-sighted. So therefore, this is what I'm saying. We don't have any past. We don't have any future right now outside of Black African infrastructure organizations. Now, when people say, when we say we want a nation, right away these people come in with this whole thing saying, oh, you guys are going to set up a border? You mean to tell me you're not going to let Africans just flood into your country? No. Why the heck would we let people flooding in our country, bring in all kinds of problems we can't handle? We can only be responsible for ourselves. If we say we want a nation and we're capable of building a nation ourselves, why would we want to take on the burden of another group of people's problems?
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
And so therefore we have to stand firm. Yes. Oh, yeah, that's not practicing Africanism. Well, do Africans, do Ghanaians, Nigerians flood into their country? No. You know what I'm saying? They have borders. They have borders separating them. You know why? Because borders make for security. It sets clarity. It sets a precedent. You know, it sets security. You'll say, I'm secure on this side right here. This will go on this side right here. You stay on that side right there. You know, if you come over, you got to have a pass. You got to have permission. You have to have documentation. That's a nation state. You know, and so therefore already these people are like, oh man, you guys are trying to set yourself up for away from that. So in other words, you want us to fail. That's what it is.
Right.
You don't even want us to have a nation to begin with.
Color, you know, I remember once upon a time, man, I was trying to tell you, man, that no matter what party the politicians are in, black politicians are in, they mean us, you know, both more harm than good. Okay.
I don't mean. Right. I'm not. I wouldn't just say they mean us harm. I'm just saying the way the system is set. Not harm.
How could you not go ahead and say that when none of them are supporting the idea of nationhood? You know, none of them are going ahead and support they want to go ahead and support us being a part of this system. They want to keep telling you that you're an American, that you need to go ahead and get out of the job. And that bothers me. Because you could tell me that I need to go ahead and have my own independent stuff and have my own business.
Well, let me answer you. The reason why is because we collectively black people have bought into America. You know what I'm saying? We did it tonight. Everybody watched Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's on the thing.
I had money
on
the game.
You know what I'm saying? So therefore, we can't participate. We can't on one hand participate in all the good things in America and then say we're not America. It don't work like that. You know what I'm saying? This is what we can do. This is a compromise right here, right?
But that's not what
everybody
I was
else. Listen. Let me finish what I'm saying. Every other group of people, right? They'll have one. Me and Holt was talking about this the other day. They'll have 1 foot in America, right? 1 foot in the other world. You know what I'm saying? And you know what the other world is? Black people in America, we don't know business. We don't understand business. We don't even know how to establish a place of business. We don't know how to actually have a business.
I'll give you one better. We don't know how to be customers. If you know how to understand your customers, you can be a better businessman.
Well, yeah, I know that's true too. We don't respect black establishment. We don't set business. We don't do proper business. That's why black business fail all the time, right? Now, my point is this though. You go to parts of New York, right? And Holden knows like this. There's parts of Manhattan, Mulberry Street, and parts of the Bronx. You'll have Italian people who still emigrate to America, right? And you have people there, Italian Americans, who still never learned how to speak English. And this to this day. It's same thing with the Chinese.
And why
Chinatown has been there for 200 years in New York City, in Canal Street. You know? You got Chinese there who never assimilated with America. They assimilated to the culture.
And why should they?
Hold on. No, listen to my point. This is my point. My point is this, though. They'll take all the benefits of America. They'll go to the Yankees here, this, and the other thing. But they got one part of their reality is here in America, and part of their reality is in the old country, the old world, the old way. Black people in America do not have a foot anyplace else outside the context of the 50 states of America.
And why is that,
problem.
Caleb?
Deal
with that. Why is that?
Because we're brought over here as slaves. We're cut off from our ancestry. Now, I'm saying, now listen to what I'm saying, and I'm going to end it right here. Now, if black people in America would establish an independent nation state by which we could bring the best of African American and African culture to bear in the state of our own and everything, that would solve the problem right there. So, therefore, black people in America, if they want to stay in America, fine. But if they want to have 1 foot in the African continent, they could do that. That would solve like 90% of the problems right there, you know what I'm saying, that we face in our community. You know what I'm saying? Because we'll have a nucleus connecting black people in the diaspora together. That's all I want to say.
You guys are basically saying the same thing. Y'all realize that, right? Y'all basically saying the same thing. We basically talking about the same thing, but it seems like y'all arguing, which is bugged out.
No. What I'm saying, I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea when people say, "Oh, we got to just jump out of America." That's not feasible. You know what I'm saying? Do what other people do.
That's not. But that I don't think, brother. I don't think that's what Rob was talking about. The original argument that Rob had was that the politicians mean more bad for us than good. That's something I definitely agree
politicians are out for politicians. They're out for themselves. Black celebrities are out for themselves. They're out for themselves. Whatever that is, if you can benefit from it, you can benefit from it. But main thing is themselves.
A good example right now is Common. Common, and the music he was putting out. Now he's got a relationship with the white woman. So these guys are out for themselves. And I
like I said, the whole thing is everything's with bust, man. You got Will and Jada. Their son is about to have a sex change on the 18th birthday. Check this out.
Oh my goodness.
Check this out. I bet you any amount of money he'll get a call from Barack Obama. He'll get a call from Barack Obama congratulating him,
Yeah, saying we got you. Yeah. But no, I want to let you know, Carl, I do agree with your point, though, that, which I never thought about. We don't have a connection to anything old because all we know is America. And that's something I never really thought about. But I do agree with that.
We had Liberia. We had one chance with Garvey. Garvey wanted to establish colonies with Liberia and make that a permanent base for black people in America and black people in the West to launch into the continent, But that J. Edgar Hoover, along with W.E.B. Du Bois, J. Edgar Hoover financed W.E.B. Du Bois to go to Liberia and basically threaten the Liberians to basically tell President C.D. King, that you better basically keep Garvey out of this country and everything. So they reached J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI, and the United States, the State Department reached all across the Atlantic and threatened Liberia with you better this, you better that, And when W.E.B. Du Bois went over there and told them, look, the United States government not pleased about Marcus Garvey coming to your country. Imagine that's how weak we are. You know what I'm saying? Another people can tell you what to do in your own sovereign country. And Liberia was under threat from Britain to be colonized and invaded, so they had no choice but to tell Garvey. When Garvey's followers went there, they impounded their ship and arrested them and took all their equipment and everything like that. And then that was the end of that. And so what I'm saying is there was years after Garvey. How come no one's ever attempted that again? Or the only attempt is going to be what we're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? But this time it's going to be different. This time we're going to have the groundswell. This time, if anybody tries something like that, they're going to pay the ultimate price.
So let me see. Let me throw something out there. So how is it? Can you go ahead? This is what I put it out there like last.
I think this is Hollop.
Where?
Hold on a second. Is this Hollop?
Yes, it is.
Oh, you gotta give him an applause.
Brother Hollop says how you doing?
You gotta give him the applaud button, man.
Let me find that. Peace, Hollop. How you doing, big brother?
What's up, fellas?
How's the show?
I'm doing good. Yeah, man, this show is going to be great, man. You got a lot of good info on here to make some videos out of. This is going to be good.
Fantastic, brother.
Wait, Howard, before you go ahead and go on.
There you go.
Applause for that brother.
It's a bow.
Go ahead, Brother Rob. What was you going to say?
Yeah, I want to put this out there, though, because sometimes, we get into, our people going ahead and attacking the other brothers, and I do say attacking, and coming at brothers when they go ahead and discuss our history. So what you put out about the information, I didn't know that shit. And I would like to go ahead and hear that history. I feed off of that. That go ahead and keep me thriving and moving on, so I can go ahead and
I told you, go read my blog. I wrote like 5 blog books on the conspiracy between the United States government and W.E.B. Du Bois against Marcus Garvey.
Hold on.
Let him finish, big brother.
Let me show you what I mean. I understand that's the specifics of it, but we need to keep hearing our history. Because, this is supposedly Black History Month. So we need to keep hearing that. I keep on putting out all of that information, even related to it. Also, there's still a big void there. So what happened to what was going on there and where we at today? What shot that down? And we need to go ahead and close that gap.
Let me tell you something. Here's a fallout. here's the fallout. Okay, America went through it. After that went through the Roaring '20s, the Depression, and then you had World War II. Now this is the difference between them and us, right? These people, white America and the powers that be, saw the Garvey movement, right? After World War II, they said, look, we can't let something like this happen again, right? So they introduced this idea of integration. They say, now, that's 70-something years ago, and we're still not integrated. But it's basically a stall tactic that we bought into, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
To stop us from having another nationalist movement like Garvey.
That's exactly what happened.
Anyway, you know what I'm saying? So they said, look, we know we're not going to integrate with them, right? We got all kinds of loopholes, everything, delay, this, that, and the other thing. But we got to make them think, because like they said, we cannot have them rejecting America. We cannot have a group of people rejecting them. They can't reject us. You know what I'm saying? Garvey rejected America.
So what?
They
so what
can't have that.
So
hold
is
on, before you finish. Hold up, before you finish, Holla, what was you going to say, big bro?
Yeah, brother. Sorry about that. I apologize.
No, that's all right. I was just gonna say that it's funny to me how everybody thinks that nationhood is something that Holla made up in his garage or something.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I was there.
I'm the only person on the face of the earth. I'm the only person on the face of the earth that thought about nationhood. You know, we got people from all walks of life in the BAIO, all different types of skill sets, and we have plans and strategies and tactics that people don't even know about, but yet people telling us that we don't have a plan. No, like you said in the show, you don't have a plan.
Right.
Running around in the circle. And I'll use it in this context because I think it's appropriate. You running around in a circle of Pookie and Ray Rays.
Yeah, there you go.
That's your circle. That ain't our circle.
Dusty Hotep Negroes.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't see the forest through the trees, and yet you thinking that everybody's same situation as you. You like this type of conversations that we're having tonight. You not having.
Right.
You sitting up there talking about interracial relationships and single mothers and this and that and a whole bunch of antiquated talking points that y'all guys been talking about for the last 9-10 years. Nothing has changed.
Don't forget
that's not us. That's you.
Right. Right.
So that's all I wanted to say.
Yep.
You know, you can get this type of show, this type of information from Minister. You can get information from Carly. You can get information from Chef and Neo and Thomas, and we can go down the line. And man, there's shows that we haven't even done yet that we're planning.
Right. Exactly.
You know, so get the hell out of here with that. The only person that don't have a plan is the Negro who's against nationhood. And I dare somebody to tell me to shut the fuck up about it to my face.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're mad.
Exactly. Exactly. And he's not hard to find. So
that's right. As a matter of fact, I'll put this on the record. I have a direct number. If anybody wants to contact me, I'll give you the number. I'll even put the number online. Call me up and speak to me directly.
There you have it. There you have it. There you have it, guys.
Okay, now where's that applause button? You got to keep your finger on the applause button.
Oh, my bad.
God damn, man. Come on, man. It's all about marketing. We got to go ahead and market it, you know, that motherfucker.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to say something else. I'm a direct type of person. And whatever I hope y'all can hear me.
No, we can hear you.
It's kind of windy out here. I'm a direct person. So whenever somebody has a problem with me, I always reach out to them directly. Like I don't make a video about it. I call that person on the phone and I speak to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, remember when me and Queen of Farmer had a misunderstanding about a post that I put up?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I did was call her on the phone and speak to her directly, and we found out that she didn't even read all of what I wrote. She was reacting off a part of what I wrote and didn't understand the full context. So once we talked about it, everything was cool.
Right.
So I don't do the internet beef thing. I don't. This is not entertainment for me.
Right.
When I do videos and when I make shows, I'm making videos and I'm doing shows basically for myself, number one, so I can express myself about how I feel about things. Right. And I also do it for people who want to know and people who want to learn.
Right. Yeah, I'll tell you now, whatever we're doing, you're doing is working because we have a lot of people signing up and a lot of people contributing, donating and whatnot, you know?
Exactly.
A lot of people.
That's beautiful,
so whatever we're doing right, all we have to do is get this to scale. And the bottom line is, like I said, we're on the right there. We're doing slow right now. So we're doing our little thing right now. Let's master this, right? We step up to the next level, get incorporated and all the stuff like that. Have our first couple of meetings and everything. It's going to be a real organization. You know what I'm saying? A real organizational resource.
And anytime you mention my name or you mention the BAIO's name, the only thing that happens is we get more subscribers.
Yep.
Exactly.
We keep growing.
That's the only thing that happens. So keep every time. That's why when I look at my subscribers and I see a spike, I know somebody said something about me.
Yep.
So keep it up. Continue doing what you're doing, and we'll continue doing what we're doing.
Yeah, we love you.
We're not going.
So keep talking.
Yeah. Like I said, Equal Hope is very clear. He has the clarity, man. You can't say that you don't understand. If you misrepresent what Hope saying, it means you're lying because he's clear about what he says, what he means.
Without a doubt.
You know, so when somebody says no, he's a Hotep. I mean, you just somebody that hates him and trying to misrepresent. But you saw his thread, right? That thread, everybody came on there destroying him. He didn't respond back. He's like, "Dag, man, what the heck is going on?" Everybody's like, "Man, why?" Because people listen to our videos, man. It's like you can't put that broad brush of a Hotep Negro. People listen to us, they know there's a difference. The only thing similar to us with the Hotep RBG niggas is we have the red, black, and green. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like having, you ever go down, if you ever come down south, right? Let me tell you so. This is a perfect example. You'll have rich people, right, that are Confederates, right? They have a Confederate thing, and they have, they live in mansions, whatever like that. They can be doctors, lawyers, whatever like that. They're Confederate, right? But you don't view them in the same way as you see that dude with a pickup truck and whatnot, you know what I'm saying, with a Confederate flag. Even though they may both stay there with the same thing, they're two complete, you know what I'm saying? Two different completely. One is, that dude that's a doctor, that may be a councilman or whatever like that, Southern Confederate, he's connected with the government and everything. You take that dude seriously because he's educated, you know what I'm saying? And whatever, think about that flag, he has enough background, enough whatever to make that thing a reality in somebody's life. You know?
Right, to substantiate,
Then you got the guy that's sitting there with a pickup truck chewing tobacco. Okay, you don't take him serious. He's ignorant, you know what I'm saying? But but they're both practicing the same culture. Same thing with someone with the American flag. You got white guys up there who on Wall Street got an American flag lapel on their thing. I'm pro-American, Donald Trump, perfect example. But then you got the yahoos out there, America, USA. You see what I'm saying? We BAIO is like the pinnacle of the nationalist movement. We're up there. We're the pinnacle. One day we're gonna be up there. Where we're rising to. And then you got the brothers out there who may have the education we have and everything, who just doing the RBG. They just need guidance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, and I got to bounce, but let me just say this real quick, because this is a prelude to kind of the physical side of what I want to talk about next week, because next week it'll be physical, It'll be electronic as well as network. But I myself, that's one of the reasons why I never speak against the loud yellers, the hoteppers, like, you know, I kill whitey kind of people. And the reason being is this, is that we're going to need somebody in the Army for defense. You know what I'm saying? And if you're screaming that now and you're saying all of that, you're going to have to put your money where your mouth is when we have our own independent nation. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's plenty of people for you to fight when that happens. So if you out there, exactly.
You to the
if
Congo,
you out there,
when you go into the, it's like when you go into the Congo, you know, we need to send you.
Right. So, you know, you keep yelling and keep your lungs strong, because we got a place for you. We definitely got a place for you.